The Sports Show, Mike, Max, Patrick, Gracie, Lavelle, E. Neal, and the one and only Sid Hartman.
Yes, sir.
Sidney, just when you get a glimmer of hope from those Twins, they disappoint you. They had a chance to win 3 out of 4. They end up getting beat 9-8 in a slugfest. I've never seen a slugfest like that at Target Field before.
Well, I wrote a column tomorrow. I had some guys for the Twins that look it up. If Willingham was doing anything like he's doing last year, he would help them. If Diamond was doing anything like he was doing last year at this time, they'd be a lot better. And the biggest bust of all is that Burton, his name?
Jared Burton.
Jared Burton.
He's been a complete flop the last 16 starts. He's got a 6-point ERA.
Yeah. Well, he was their 8th inning guy. He was unhittable last year, and that changeup was fabulous. But he's not getting to the changeup, is what I see. They're kind of putting the ball in play. He's getting behind people, so he can't quite throw the changeup.
That's what he said today. He fell behind 1-0 to David Lau and threw that pitch up there. And Lau said that pitch was right in my wheelhouse.
Everything was in his wheelhouse. He had 4 balls, pulled them all, right? We had 4 hits.
Well, the one double was a blooper that Parmalee kind of nonchalant and then he just said, I'm going to take second then on you because you're not hustling and get to the ball. Our Parmalee misplayed 2 balls out there. And the shortstop didn't have a good game either.
Florimon,
Yeah, he was late throwing the ball to first on one play, and then he tried a barehand pickup when Billy Butler, who has like Lavelle class speed, is running. All you gotta do is stop and scoop up the ball and throw the first.
Why all the home runs today? Was there a weather front? I mean, it was the second half of the game and became a home run derby like we've never seen.
It was breezy out, but I didn't think that these home runs were windy. I mean,
no, they looked like
Hosmer's is 415 feet. Plouffe is 416 feet, you know.
I'm glad they didn't panic when everybody was whining that it was too big a ballpark and start bringing in the right field wall or something. It plays just fine.
Yeah, it does.
Pitchers were up in the strike zone all day today. Kevin Correa, he got blooped and gorked to death, but when you don't keep the ball down, that's what happens. You know, if you keep the ball down and they make contact, then they hit it on the ground.
It's nice to see home runs. They can hit home runs there if they, if you make bad pitches.
Why aren't they hitting home runs?
Well, they are hitting home runs. They have 70-some. They're going to end up with 150 or 60. That's pretty good.
We'll see.
Let's transition into Alex Gibson.
Kyle Gibson?
Kyle Gibson. Alex Gibson. Kyle Gibson. He gave him a glimmer of hope yesterday.
He gave up 8 hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think he was sensational. I read his column. We'll see what happens. I mean, their drafting's been terrible. Let's face the facts. They got...
Sid, you want to go back to where? How far do you want to go back?
I want to go back?
To drafting.
I went back, and it's brutal. Last year, they got that Buxton, and they got the kid from the Caribbean. Who else have they got? I want to see how those guys do.
Boy, you're down on the Twins.
Yeah,
why do you hate the Twins? They're not coming back to CCO. Forget it. They got their own station. You can stop being mad at them. They're not coming back.
I don't rip them all the time like you do.
You went up to Terry Ryan today and said, how can you be so disappointed in this team?
I'm not down on them. I just think that the results haven't been there. That's all.
No, there's no question about that. This is a bad baseball team. Has been for 3 years.
But we knew going into the season they weren't going to be title contenders.
No, they're about like Kansas City.
They're doing about as much as I expected. I got them on 7-8 wins for the season.
Yeah.
The pitching staff is a little bit better, a little bit. It's not the disaster it was last year, and I thought that was going to be good enough to keep them.
Gibson, back to Gibson. He'll be fine.
When they're 3-7,
he'll have some nice 7-inning, 91-pitch games when they put that ball in play. The only thing is, he throws that sinker down and in. You got to get it down and in. You don't want it sitting there.
Oh,
he'll give up some home runs.
But he's willing to throw the pitch inside. He's willing to pitch inside, and that was a good sign.
When you're 3-7 against Kansas City, you got a few.
Well, Kansas City's not that bad.
I know.
Kansas City's not bad.
Here's what it comes down for. They got to be right on Gibson and Buxton, and then I don't know where else because they still got a whole bunch of. Is Trevor Plouffe going to be here in 3 years? Will Brian Dozier?
Plouffe's been pretty good for about 3 weeks here since he came back from the DL.
Are we
they're better than they were. They're not
Stahoviak, Mears, Todd Walker era.
You know, I was thinking, we're talking about this in the press box today, Plouffe may end up in first base in a couple of years, the way things shake out. If you look at the Twins outfield of the future, you got Hicks, Arcia, and Buxton. You got Sano at third.
I
Who's
wouldn't
your
bet
DH?
the
Who's
farm
your
on
first
Hicks
baseman?
yet, as you ever did.
Well, I think Hicks can be a solid guy. I don't think he's going to be like a annual All-Star type guy. I think this is what happens. You caught the kid from Double-A, and he took it on the chin.
For sure.
And he's trying to recover.
But just because he's failed doesn't mean he will succeed.
That's a good point, but I still think his foundation is he can run, he can throw.
He's an athlete.
He knows what a strike is. He just has
to get the ball to the bat left-handed.
Well, you're right. And the thing is,
he doesn't have a good left-handed swing.
He gets a hitter's counts, but he's not doing damage when he gets pitches to hit, and that's the thing that's got to change.
Lavelle show.
What do you want to see him do next?
Let's put it this way. Nobody knows how good that Buxton will be when he gets up to Major
Nobody
League.
knows how good Sharif Floyd will be, or Cordial Patterson.
Puckett came up. He didn't set the world on
Shabazz
fire right
Muhammad.
away.
We had 4
It took
hits
those
first
guys
game.
3 years to get going. We'll see what happens. The division's really stinks. Even Detroit doesn't have a bullpen. Cleveland's up and down. The White Sox are terrible. They should be able to do better in this division than they're doing.
The division's not that bad. The White Sox are terrible. The other three teams are fine.
Well, I'll ask this when we come back from the break.
Cleveland's
Stay with us,
good.
the
Cleveland's
Sports
actually
Show.
good.
Meeting right now for the 4th of July week coming up, locally owned, nationally known, J.D. Hoyt's on Washington. Great place to go, and then head over to the Twins game either before or after. Welcome back to the Sports Show. Before we went to break, Lavelle, the question I was going to ask you pertaining to the Twins was, do you think Glenn Perkins is trade available?
No, I do not. I think they're
You
going
think he's untouchable right now?
I think if there's untouchables on that team, I think it's Maurer, and I think it's going to be Perkins.
That's it, yeah.
I think everybody else could be on the team.
That's the only question is Perkins, because the rest
Why would you trade Perkins? You got a very favorable contract.
I asked him if he thought he was.
I
I'm
don't
not
think-
saying that I thought
there's
they
no
should.
chance I'll trade Perkins.
But you got to look at the
Since I'm
viable
fired tonight.
assets that you think would be attractive.
Detroit
to
no
Doug-
If
chance
Detroit
I'll trade
comes with
Perkins.
Castellanos,
and
the phenom,
Rondon.
and Rondon, the relief closer of the future, then they'd have to think about it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I got to go back and look this up, but I don't remember closers being traded and getting a lot in return. I've got to do a little research into that.
But this guy, well, then you're not going to trade him.
Right.
You know, you're not going to look to
Don't-
trade him, but if somebody blows your doors off, you got to do it. So
Now, I
Here's
talked
the
to
thing.
a scout at the
I
ballpark
happen
today.
to let me get a word in, will you?
You opened the show.
Go ahead, Sid.
I happen to be close to Morneau. He's a heck of a kid, and I wish him the best. But if you're another club and the guy's had so many ailments, you still don't know if he's healthy now, are you going to give up a lot for him and then pay him the big
I thought
money?
we were talking about Perkins.
We just changed.
Okay, well.
Morneau, no, they're not going to get anything from Morneau. They'll probably offer him a one-year deal at the end of the year and see if they can get draft choices.
There's a bunch of scouts at these games now, and they're
They ain't
seeing
gonna
Morneau
trade
not hit.
Perkins.
He hit a home run today. I think I saw the Giants, I saw the Pirates, I saw a couple American League teams in the press box today.
How about
But
the Pirates, huh?
the best first team to 50, baby.
Yeah.
First team to 50.
Beat the
Frankie
Brewers.
Liriano.
Beat the Brewers in 14 innings today. They won 9 in a row.
And their
Yeah.
best player, Andrew McCutchen, did not have that great of a first half. He could have a huge second half and really set that team rolling.
Michael Kadyr's hitting 344. He extended his hitting streak to 27 games.
Well, he's healthy for the first time in about 2-3 years. And you give up a Kadir, you give up Nathan, you give up Kubel, you give up guys like that. Maybe they didn't finish that 1 year with those 3 guys, but you can't give up guys like that. I don't
Small
think you
correction
can.
here. Kadir chose to go to Colorado. The Twins did offer him something. Who was the second guy you mentioned? Nathan. Nathan didn't know what direction the Twins were headed, so he was motivated to go to the Rangers.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
But to your point, I mean, he's saying if you got things going well, then you know what direction you're going. So you keep them, right?
Just like the Vikings. In my opinion, the Vikings are a big question. They got rid of Harvin, they got rid of Winfield, they got rid of Kluey, and they got rid of Brinkley. Let's see if they can replace those 4 guys. I want to see if they can replace them.
Brinkley stinks. Kluey had other issues going on. Winfield's old. and the Vikings actually started playing better after Mr. Diva, wide receiver.
You're not one of those
left
idiots who think they're better without Percy Harvin, are you? I hope you're not.
Did you see they went?
Who cares?
They started winning after he left last year.
You say,
how can you say they're better
without Percy Harvin?
The man wanted the ball thrown to him every freaking play. He was on Ponder about throwing him the ball.
Tell him.
He slowed down the entire offense.
Let me tell you something, know-it-all. If I ran a team for a while, if the guy can play, you find a way to keep him. This guy was a dominating player, maybe the best player in the league outside the quarterback.
Why did they start playing better after he stopped playing?
By
They
accident.
didn't play anybody, that's why.
What do you mean they didn't play anybody?
No, they beat Green Bay.
And by accident.
Houston.
Take a break, come back.
They
Stay
beat
with
Green
us,
Bay.
the Sports Show.
What do you...
There it is, out. He just talked to Bruce Bonine the other day. Sports and a little bit more. Stop on by. Boy, you look for those rings on the freeway. See how many people you spot that are driving with those rings on the back. It is Audi. It is popular. It is unbelievable. Welcome back to the Sports Show. Mike Max, Patrick Gracie, Novelli, Neil, Sid Hartman. Okay, go ahead.
I can call Bill Belichick anytime and take my calls. I can call Pete Carroll anytime and take my calls. I can call Mr. Tressman anytime and take my calls. And they'll tell me the scoop off the record. So don't tell me about how bad Winfield is and how bad Harvey is.
No one said Winfield was bad. I said he was.
You did not hear what we just heard.
We did not hear.
Don't worry about it, because he never said that.
La
okay?
la 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 la.
I never said what?
Nothing. You also drafted in the NBA for a while. You and I spent some time with Shabazz Muhammad and Gorgie.
He took a rip at him. He had no choice. Once that Bennett was taken, there wasn't a shooting guard available of any consequence. The result is
McCollum was there, but obviously
the guys that were left went way late.
Sidney, I looked at your video, and you said he should have kept Trey Burke on your video.
I said that, yeah.
Well, okay, then he did have a choice.
But I thought that was a mistake. But I think the two guys they got are going to be pretty good.
Because why?
Huh?
Because why?
Because they're good basketball players. Muhammad, if they get him straightened out, it might be a pretty good
I'm not so sure that he thinks it's talking to him that he needs to straighten out. I think there's a lot of things written about his father and whatnot. I think he sees himself
0.7 assists per game. He never threw a pass in his life.
Black hole.
Now you got Kevin Love over on the like Chris Humphries changed, huh? He'd rather shoot through a triple team. Now you got Kevin Love over on the other side who's only worried about how many rebounds and shots, and now you got a ball hog on the other side. I think it's the worst. I think it's the worst fit.
You can make some money.
It's the worst fit in history.
You can make some money. When he comes here, we'll bet about how many assists he has with Adelman as coach. We'll see.
Okay.
Sid, who are you not mad at today?
Kirilenko.
So we should ignore his college statistics. When did you
I don't
change?
get my information from sports
When
writers.
did you change?
What?
I get my information.
You are a sports writer.
Did you watch him against the Gophers?
He was hurt against the Gophers.
God almighty. Boy, you're
badly hurt.
You sure changed your tune.
You cannot project Muhammad as being a good player yet.
That's because he gets a chance to talk to Bill Duffy for a bit.
Duffy sold you on him.
What about Kirilenko? Did you want to see him come back, or would you rather have the money?
I talked to Glenn Taylor today. They wanted 2 more years on that contract, and they weren't going to give it to him. And I think they're right. I think they can use that money to get some pretty good players.
Now we get back
My opinion is he'll be back with them because he won't get that money from anybody else.
But now we go back to the Twins, where I say nobody wants to come play for the Twins. It's really good. I don't know who the Timberwolves can recruit that's really good.
Calvin Martin or O.J. Mayo or somebody like that.
Yeah, I think they're going to end up buying a shooting guard for the.
Try, but I mean, who wants to come here and play?
Kirilenko comes back, then they can't sign a shooting guard.
No,
they don't have
you got to wait bye to Kirilenko.
They're not going to give him that kind of money now.
They need to sign a shooting guard, and Kirilenko has to go. So I think actually this is an attractive team for a free agent. I mean, they've got a great point guard in Ricky Rubio that's going to get you the ball in a position where you can score. Kevin Love you can play off of. You got the big man Pekovic. They've got pieces here.
Unless he gives it to Shabazz first, and then nobody's ever going to see it again.
You want Shabazz to come off the bench.
As much as they need Pekovic, I'm not sold on Pekovic. You know why? Because he misses so many games.
I'm not sure about the Russian either. How many games did he miss?
18. Kirilenko. No, we're not Shved, the other Russian.
Yeah.
Oh, Kirilenko. Speaking of Russians, I like the 6'8" guy in the draft I thought the Wolves should take a look at. The 6'8" Russian off guard looked like he had some talent. I saw some highlights and reading about him. I thought he was an intriguing guy.
I've never heard a general manager in this town in 45 years apologize for his draft choice like Flip did.
Within an hour.
Well, he must have got to that pick and just said, I am boxed in, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, he was honest and told the truth.
Yes.
There was 4 shooting guards they wanted. They were all gone. They weren't going to take
I think
the guy.
just 3, and they didn't want the guy from Lehigh.
McCollum.
They didn't want the guy from Lehigh.
That's right. They didn't want him.
It's still going to be in a decent offseason if they sign either Martin or O.J. Mail.
This is just like the old days. I'm sitting here with 2 homers.
I'm not from here. I can't be a homer.
The one, I talked to Trevor Mbakwe yesterday out there at the Howard Pulley thing, and these poor kids, I got to say, man, because everybody, workplace they work out, everybody tells them they look good. They write how good they look, blah, blah, blah. And then they sit on draft night and go on draft.
Is he not signed yet?
He's going to Philadelphia.
Would you let me talk once?
Yes. I just asked a question.
Go.
Flip Saunders is not offered either one of those 2
They're going to
guys
Philadelphia to play. I just told you.
to play in the summer league.
Right. They're going with Philadelphia.
They're both going to Philadelphia with no contract.
Right.
Okay.
But I'm just saying,
Flip says,
you hear all these positive things. These guys get all this positive feedback, and it means nothing because everybody's lying.
Flip thinks his knees will not hold
Correct.
up in the National Basketball Association.
He's 6'7", and he doesn't have any offensive game.
Take a break, come back, stay with us.
Worst thing that happened.
Bar Abilene, corner Lagoon and Fremont and Uptown. Perfect place for the 4th of July. Go on over there. Maybe head down to the fireworks after or come after the fireworks. For reservations, call 825-2525. Wayne Kostroski, they got it going on. Gustav Olofsson, someone that I know that you didn't know would fall to the 2nd round. The Minnesota Wild were able to acquire through the draft today.
I have no knowledge.
How about trading
They
Clutterbuck?
traded for a Swiss guy.
El Nino.
Traded for a Swiss, drafted a Swede.
El Nino, they call him.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Of course,
Cutter-
you know all about those hockey guys, too.
Well,
Team won the
Jones.
Stanley Cup.
yeah,
His team won
I'm
the
from a
Stanley
city that has a
Now, you
current
won the
Stanley Cup
Stanley
champion,
Cup.
sir.
Clutterbuck gone, Patrick.
Yeah, we won't have to hear about all the meaningless hits he had anymore, so that's good.
Or look at that hideous mustache.
I'll trade you 10 hits for a goal, okay? Oh, he had 9. Yeah, he was a -2, but
How
he had
about
9 hits.
How about
come up with
some
more
shaving
stats.
cream for that mustache of his? My
Who
God.
knows how good they'll be?
I'll say this, though. Last year on the 4th of July, man, that
was a party last year.
was a party,
They were
man.
coming up on
They'll
the
have less
anniversary.
personnel next year than they had this year.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Trader Chuck, I think, has still got some things on his plate that he's trying to do.
Well, a lot of it will be find out if this Pominville, they're going to find out next year
Yeah.
if he's a player or not.
If he's worth
a
the first
player,
rounder,
then
yeah.
they're okay.
Granlund's got a little bit of experience. We'll see where that goes.
I think the kid they traded for is kind of soft, just like Granlund.
Really?
Right?
Oh, no.
I think he's a big.
He's a top 10 pick,
he's a
right? This El
Swiss.
Nino kid?
Yeah, but
Well,
he's a softy.
oh,
Were
wow.
you happy with Backstrom coming back?
Well, he must have not had a lot of the clubs interested in him either, because they got him pretty cheap for a good goaltender. I guarantee the Blackhawk goaltender and the Boston Bruin goaltender and some of those other guys are getting a lot more money than the Backstrom's getting.
I think
In case you're out there in TV land and wonder about the Sid list, you got the Vikings and the Timberwolves here. They're doing okay. You got the Wild and the Twins, and they both stink.
There you go.
How many games did you see last year?
Hey, let's,
Wild?
5?
Boy, that'd be generous. I think it was 4. I think it was 4.
Since we're heading toward, this has been kind of a tumultuous show. Let's give them a positive, something to think about. Reading your column today, you're pretty high on a couple of red shirts for the Gopher football team.
I'm just telling you what the coach told me. And I believe Jerry Kill. Jerry Kill tells you if a guy can't play, he tells you he can't play. And I think the schedule they got this year is so favorable that they'll do pretty good. Next year, they got to play Michigan, Ohio State. It'll be a different story. But they got all those teams at home, and I think they'll have a pretty good year this year.
I'm going to shock you and say the one thing I like the Gopher football is doing is he's trying to put together an offensive line. You know, they haven't had one since about halfway.
A big, strong.
They haven't had one since Mason's tenure, and I've always felt that an offensive line is where a football team is made or lost. That's why your Bears keep screwing up.
I know, offensive line.
You got offensive line, and you got a guy who can make some tackles and Hagema.
That's right. Positive note to end on tonight. Thank you. See you next week, everybody.